And they're off. Hawker on the inside has some speed. Rexford bobbled ever so slightly, but has recovered quickly and taken over. Queen's Code will be second through the opening furlong, followed by Hawker. Rhythm on stage. Pioneer Prince is down on the inside, 3 off the leader, and Eastbound at the back. It's Rexford going to the half-mile pole, about a length in front of Queen's Code in second. They're followed by Pioneer Prince, who's made it up to third. Rhythm on stage, Whitecap 3 wide, Hawker between those two, and Eastbound is 5 off the lead. Rexford takes them around the turn, opens it up. A length and a half now on Queen's Code in second. At the rail, Pioneer Prince has 2.5 or so to make up, moving up a bit on the inside, followed by Hawker between rivals. They turn for home, and Rexford, the one to catch, maintains the lead strongly past the 8th pole. At the rail, Pioneer Prince is getting going now, and Queen's Code losing ground, coming to the 16th pole, and it's Rexford. Rexford traveling sweetly throughout and pours it on late. Rexford and Ricky Gonzalez all the way. Pioneer Prince holds second in front of Queen's Code, and then Hawker. We're in the gate. And they're off. Quick start for Square Doro. Antonsen hustled through along the inside. Log On to Win is in between them. Third, Cody Boy comes away in fourth. Come Fly Away. 6 lengths off the early speed. Sunday Sun and Unusual Measure. Square Doro and Antonsen battling it out past the half-mile pole, and Square Doro's a little bit quicker. Cody Boy loops up 3 wide. Antonsen now back to third. Then it's Log On to Win fourth. The gap of 5, Come Fly Away, Unusual Measure, and Sunday Sun. They're approaching the quarter pole, and Cody Boy is the new leader. Square Doro along the inside second. Antonsen has a lot of work to do, joined by Log On to Win. They're at the top of the stretch, and it's Cody Boy and Square Doro. On the outside of them, coming with a big run, is Log On to Win. They're in the final furlong. Cody Boy, Log On to Win, and Log On to Win has swept on by to take command. It's Log On to Win, giving Hector Berrios a double on the afternoon. Cody Boy finished second. Sunday Sun third. Antonsen and Come Fly Away. And they're off. OK Rose in the center of the course has some speed. Pace Lane, Sky Sailing down on the inside. No Time for Squalls. On the far outside, Ellie Moore, and the gray is Toulouse de Trac. OK Rose now settles toward the back of the field. Starlit Harbor is next, followed by Orderly Transition. The 2 trailers are Miss Will and Discrepancy. Around the first turn, less than 6 furlongs to go. Pace Lane is the leader, has it a half length to an eager Ellie Moore pressing the issue in second. Then it's No Time for Squalls. Sky Sailing in between horses. Toulouse de Trac outside of them. At the rail, a hard-held Starlit Harbor is right next to OK Rose in the pink. Discrepancy begins a bit on the outside. Orderly Transition and Miss Will. They have less than a half mile to go, and it's Pace Lane leading the way a length and a half to Ellie Moore second. At the rail, No Time for Squalls in third. Sky Sailing is next. Toulouse de Trac on the outside. At the rail, Starlit Harbor has 5 lengths to make up. OK Rose is next, joined by Discrepancy. At the back, Miss Will and Orderly Transition, a quarter of a mile to go, and it's Pace Lane leading by 2 in hand at this stage. At the rail, No Time for Squalls has plenty of room to get through. These two arrive at the 8th pole, 1-2. Pace lane, no time for Squalls, no time for Squalls. Squeezes through and takes over coming to the 16th pole. Pace lane trying hard, but it is no time for Squalls. And Tyler Bays, no time for Squalls, wins it by 2.5. Pace lane second. OK Rose found her best stride too late, then orderly transition and a photo involving discrepancy. She comes up and in. And they're off. Very nice start. Wrong turn Cupid is quick, but so is Storm Doro, and these two hook up right away. Keep Your Coil already 4 back in third, and Dancing Dana to their outside, followed by Vela Tapatu and Woodbine Way. Storm Doro, Wrong turn Cupid have sped 6 lengths clear. Keep Your Coil and Dancing Dana are right together as they move into the far turn. Dancing Dana now takes third. Then it's Vela, 5th, and 8 off the pace, less than 3 furlongs out. Tapadu moving up in between rivals, and Woodbine Way is at the back of the field. Wrong turn Cupid with 1/4 mile to go, getting the lead over Storm Doro. It's been a good trip for Dancing Dana, looming in from third, and they're followed by Keep Your Coil. Outside Tapadu, they're in the final furlong, and it's Wrong turn Cupid, but very weary. Here comes Dancing Dana, Tapadu on the outside, both finishing well. Dancing Dana and Armando Ayuso collaring Wrong turn Cupid at the wire. It's going to be Dancing Dana. Dancing Dana scores by 2 lengths. Photo for second went to Wrong turn Cupid in front of Tapadu, then Keep Your Coil and Vela. Yamava Resort and Casino at San Manuel is your destination for gaming excitement. Yamava is the closest resort and casino to Santa Anita Park. In. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Charles Whittingham, presented by FanDuel TV. Dicey Mochara in the red colors is showing good speed. So is Balladeer. Gold Phoenix is up close and on the pace today. Then it's War at Sea, racing one from the outside, and Prince Obama in the yellow. Rock Emperor goes by that pair as they get by the stands the first time. Awfully Naughty second to last, and Hector Barrios will opt to have Planetario at the back of the field and try to make one big run as they come with about a lap to go. It is Balladeer, the pacemaker, prompted by Dicey Mochara, Rock Emperor between rivals, Gold Phoenix at the rail, and War at Sea is just outside of that pair. Awfully Naughty is 6 lengths off the lead. Prince Obama is next, and then it's Planetario. They move into the clubhouse turn, and Drayden Van Dyke has Balladeer on the lead by 2 with less than 6 furlongs to travel. Dicey Mochara is in second. Gold Phoenix patiently handled along the rail. War at Sea gets a nudge to get closer and is up to take third. In between those two, Rock Emperor is still right with them. Then comes Awfully Naughty, 1.5 lengths in front of the 2 trailers. Prince Obama on the outside, and inside of him, Planetario in the orange. He is really keen, wants to get going as they have a 1/2 mile left to run. Balladeer a length, Dicey Mochara, Gold Phoenix at the rail, War at Sea, Rock Emperor still 5th in between rivals. At the rail, Awfully Naughty, then Prince Obama and Planetario. 7 lengths covers the field around the far turn. Balladeer trying to sprint away. Gold Phoenix has had a beautiful trip, angled out now to come after him. War at Sea is 4 deep. Dicey Mochara is in between. Prince Obama fanned out. Planetario saving ground. Rock Emperor comes through at the rail looking for a spot now. They're in the final furlong, and now Planetario is cut loose between rivals. He's trying to burst through as Gold Phoenix comes up to Balladeer. Outside Prince Obama, Planetario, Prince Obama on the outside, and Gold Phoenix has won the Charles Whittingham, presented by FanDuel TV, under a picture-perfect ride from Kyle Frey, Prince Obama, and Planetario in a place photo. and jockey Kyle Frey. Up next, the 8th. It's the start of the late pick 4. They'll be at the gate in 24 minutes. Paul and Spot Doro. We're in the gate. And they're off. Spot Doro rockets out of the gate. Last call, Paul, with good early speed. Summer Chief in between those two. And at the rail, here's Dance Man. And Dance Man very easily gets to the front. Our Awesome Kid is now racing in 4th along the inside. Last call, Paul has dropped to mid-pack. Where's the Loot goes by him. The 2 trailers were on the west. And Trotsky. It's Dance Man, 3.5 furlongs from home, leading a half length to Summer Chief in 2nd. And now it's a length and a half as Dance Man opens it up around the far turn. Where's the Loot? Ranges all the way up to take 2nd, away from Spot Doro, who's now racing in 3rd. Behind this group, Our Awesome Kids. Summer Chief is next. A 3 deep War on the west. And Trotsky trails. A 1/4 mile to go. Dance Man. And Where's the Loot? Dance Man. Where's the Loot on the outside? Past the 8th pole together as one, and Where's the Loot has taken the lead. Dance Man is relegated to 2nd, followed by Last Call Paul and Our Awesome Kid. It will be Where's the Loot, scoring easily at first asking. Trotsky rallies strongly to complete the exacta. Last Call Paul, Dance Man, and Our Awesome Kid. And they're off to a smooth beginning. Baltazar is out quickly toward the inside. The Old 9 in the center and Tour Player down at the rail. They're joined by One Time Mark, and One Time Mark is up to battle with Tour Player by the stands the first time. The Old 9 gets a good spot, 3 off them in 3rd. And down the inside comes Baltazar, who was just passed by British Isles, 5 lengths off the lead. It's then a gap of 3 to the next flight, which is Captain Chuchi's racing on the outside of Wins It Well. 4 lengths back to Hurricane Way. CNY is 2nd to last, and another 3 to Demotivate. They string out over 20 lengths, rounding the first turn. And it's Tour Player just in front. One Time Mark taken under a nice hold in 2nd. Another 2 back to British Isles, who's going to put the pressure on the top pair, while Baltazar sits down at the rail in 4th. The Old 9 is comfortable 5th, 5 lengths off the lead, 2 clear of Indispensable. Wins It Well is racing on the inside as they pass the half-mile pole. Outside of him comes Captain Chuchi's, 3 clear of Hurricane Way. Cienwa still 2nd to last, and Demotivate. Around the far turn, Tour Player, One Time Mark still on hold outside of him. At the rail, Baltazar and British Isles race as a team. Indispensable, Orange Sleeves is moving up on the outside of the Old 9. The Old 9 still in front of him. Another 3 back to Captain Chuchi's and Hurricane Way. Top of the stretch, and Tour Player tries to spurt clear. Leads it by 3. British Isles in the center of the course. Behind him, the Old 9, and still fighting on is One Time Mark, a 16th to go. And it is British Isles up to wrest the lead away from One Time Mark, and British Isles and Drayden Van Dyke cruise away to score by almost 2. One Time Mark held 2nd. Indispensable started getting going late, and then it was Cienwa racing in 4th. Battle for 5th involved Captain Chuchi's, Hurricane Way, and Baltazar. With Giovanni Franco. Set. And they're off. And Mobytown is very quick. So is Dad Star. Those 2 hook up right away. 2 more to the Big Chizola in 3rd. Down at the rail, Thales is 4th. They're followed by Damasio, Redcap 5th, 7 off the duel up top. Tahoe Secrets is next. A length in front of Gotcha Lookin', the 2 trailers, Rogue Sun, and slow starting Dutch Bus at the back. They sizzle past the half-mile pole. Mobytown, Dad Star going at it. 4 more to Thales into 3rd. The Big Chizola is 4th. Damasio set down at the rail fifth, still with 7 or so to make up, followed by Gotcha Looking outside Tahoe's Secrets as they come toward the quarter pole. And Mobytown has put away Dad Star. Lake Company coming from Thales, one from the outside, and even wider out with a bid is the Big Chizola. As Damasio cuts the corner, it's Mobytown with a 4-length lead and a furlong to finish the job. The Big Chizola on the outside and Damasio at the rail. Belated rally from Rogue Sun, late 16th to go, and it is Mobytown clear. Here comes Rogue Sun, very fast. This is going to get close. Rogue Sun's flying. Rogue Sun nailed him. Armando Ayuso gets another in dramatic fashion. Rogue Sun runs down Mobytown right on the money. We're in the gate. And they're off. Madiha, Cornelia Ford has some early foot. Grace Period is the gray along the inside. And in the center of the course, here's Henny's Crazy Train along with Belle Cherie. And so Henny's Crazy Train now takes the lead. Belle Cherie moves up to take second. Madiha, a very close third, keeping pace with the top runner. Then it's Grace Period in fourth, followed by Cornelia Ford, 2 clear of Thrum Stream, who races about 7 lengths off the lead into the first turn. Then comes Lady Claypool. Yarborough, A Pleasant Wave is just behind that pair. And then there are 2 at the back of the field, Mahina and Sunshine Babe. 15 lengths front to back, rounding the clubhouse turn. And it's Henny's Crazy Train leading the way. Has it by a length over Belle Cherie in second. Madiha comfortably placed along the rail third. Then Cornelia Fort outside of Grace Period. Another 2 back to Thrum Stream, followed by Lady Claypool. 2 more to Yarborough, and next to her is Pleasant Wave. At the back of the field is Mahina. Into the far turn, Henny's Crazy Train still there, 3/4 of a length. On the outside, Belle Cherie is in second. Madiha ground saving. Cornelia Fort is fourth. Called on now, 4 lengths off the lead. They are followed by Grace Period. Lady Claypool trying to make a little bit of headway along the rail. Outside of her is Thrum Stream there at the top of the stretch. Henny's Crazy Train a length and a half in front. Madiha has swung to the center of the course and is now finding her best stride. Down at the rail, Grace Period running a good race. Threading through traffic is Lady Claypool in the blue. On the outside of them comes Cornelia Fort. It is a driving finish and Madiha is absolutely flying. Here's Mahina flying late. Could not get to Henny's Crazy Train. Henny's Crazy Train, and then a blanket involving Mahina, who was dead last at the top of the stretch. Cornelia Fort was in there along with Madiha.
Hi, everybody, and a happy Cinco de Mayo from all of us here at St. Anita to all of you. We've got a great 10-race card, almost close to a Pick 6 carryover. One winning ticket on yesterday's St. Anita Pick 6 paid in excess of $48,000. Congratulations to that skilled and lucky ticket holder, but we start fresh today. And, you know, if you follow baseball, you know that good managers always have a closer in the bullpen. They always tap their arm and call him in when the game is tight. Since there's a little bit of a Derby hangover for all of us, I've decided to bring in our closer here at Santa Anita. His name's Sebastian Piscuskas. Sebastian, welcome to the seminar. Happy Seabass Sunday.
Hey, thanks for making the call, Tom. More than happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. Now, before we look forward, let's look backwards and talk about the Kentucky Derby. Of course, everybody saw the race. And congratulations to the connections. Jockey Brian Hernandez and trainer trainer Kenny McPeak won both the Oaks and the Kentucky Derby. The last time a trainer did that, winning consecutive Oaks and Derbies, was back in 1952. Ben Jones did it. Only 4 trainers in the history of the Oaks and Derby did that. You got to tip your hat to both those guys, right? What an accomplishment. We'll talk specifically about the Derby, but they must be on cloud 9 after the successful weekend they had.
They have to be. I mean, it's a dream to win either race. To do both in a span of 24 hours you couldn't even dream it up, really.
And certainly Brian Hernandez has had success riding here in the Breeders' Cup. And Kenny McPeak, believe it or not, I know you'll find this surprising. During the Keeneland September yearling sale, I actually had a drink with Kenny McPeak at the bar in between the sales. But he does an excellent job at the sales, even with Mystic Dan. Mystic Dan was a homebred, but he has so many different horses that turn out to be successful. Yeah. And he doesn't buy them for very much money.
No, he really doesn't. He's really astute when it comes to picking out horses at sales for relatively small potatoes compared to the big guys. But all I know is the next time you have a drink with him, I think he's buying.
Yeah, I sure hope so. That's for sure. Now let's talk about the running of the Kentucky Derby, Sebastian, because of course it was controversial. And take nothing away from Mystic Dan, but there were 3 horses in the wires on the wire: Sierra Leone and Forever Young, the Japanese horse, who probably had the roughest trip, finished in basically almost a dead heat for the win. There were 3 of them lapped on the wire. The time was 2:03.34. No need to worry about Secretariat's record-breaking performance. But, you know, without getting too political and too crazy, there's a lot of different opinions. That's what makes racing great. What was your impression of the running of the Kentucky Derby, Sebastian?
My thoughts on the Kentucky Derby were it was a kind of a roughly run race. There was a lot of bumping in a lot of different spots.
At the start and coming down the lane.
At the start, coming into the lane, coming into the stretch. We had 9 across the track coming into it. So there was a lot going on, a lot of moving parts.
Have you seen the head-on?
I've seen the head-on. I've watched it repeatedly. I've been on the internet, living my best life, yelling into the void, if you will. But what it really boiled down to for me was Forever Young gets a straight path. Forever Young isn't bumped the length of the stretch. Forever Young wins. He didn't. That's racing, but he's got to get put up into second there. That's just how I feel about that.
The surprise was that the stewards didn't look at it. It didn't affect the win, but even Andy Serling on Twitter this morning talked about how he was surprised they didn't look at the placing for both second and third because there was a lot of jostling coming down the lane. You know, the Japanese horse, like I mentioned just a minute ago, probably was the best horse in the race. You got to at least take a look at it and put the light on. You might not make a change, but you got to look at it, in my opinion.
You absolutely have to look at it, Tom. And, you know, what it really boils down to is whether the race was for 6250 in Ohio or it was a grade 1 in Florida. There's probably a handful of races, I can count them on my fingers, where that goes to the judges and the result stands as follows. And the only one that actually happened in was the Derby. So if this was a regular Thursday, if this was a random Tuesday at any track in the country, that result gets flipped. So it's the Derby. We got to hold things to a higher standard.
To be transparent, neither you or I were impacted by the decision or the non-decision. Our selections ran up the track. So It's not like we have sour grapes, but there's other people who think that Sierra Leone might have been the best horse. I know that that's one of the runners you did like when you were on the seminar last time, but we're not speaking from a jaded horse player bad beat situation. No. We're just talking about from a rational, let's kind of tighten things up a little bit.
Exactly. We had no skin in the game. It didn't affect our pocket. So, you know, coming from as unbiased of a party as we can, it's because we love the game, because we're passionate about the game. We have 20 horses in the race. If we don't want to adjudicate the first 9 furlongs, because that's just kind of how it boils down in a 20-horse field, that's totally fine. But you got 2 horses coming off the turn in the 8 and 9 path. They end up in the 2.5 and 3 path. There's nothing else I can say.
Sure. Now, Mystic Dan, it's interesting. Kenny McPeak was on record today earlier that he's not completely sure he's going to run Mystic Dan back in the Preakness. Now, we'll see what happens during the next 13 days, but it's interesting. I'm looking at Mystic Dan's past performances, and if you happen to have them in front of you, he came back in 13 days this past November November last year at Churchill Downs off a victory and finished a disappointing 5th in a field of 8. So that's the concern Mr. McPeak has, is bringing back Mystic Dan on such short rest. But we'll see exactly what transpires between now and then. One thing we do know, Sebastian, is yesterday Muth, who was excluded from the Kentucky Derby, actually worked here over the main track at Santa Anita, courtesy of our friends at xbtv.com. Let's watch that workout. You'll see as we pick it up that Muth is working in company with Imagination. Both are possibles or probables for the Preakness Stakes. That's Muth down on the inside and Imagination on the outside. And as I always talk about when we look at these workouts, the thing to really pay attention to, in my opinion, is to watch the body language on the exercise riders. And I think you'll see throughout the course of this work that the exercise rider on Muth really doesn't move much of a muscle. The box that where we're being profiled, Sebastian, kind of covers up the time, but I can tell you the time was very, very legitimate. You can see it right there, 1:11 and change. They're both, in my opinion, doing it effortlessly. You can see Imagination kind of gets off Muth here as they turn for home. But watch the exercise rider on Muth. They're both very talented horses. These are both excellent workouts. But the body language on for the exercise rider on Muth, where he's really not moving a muscle, to me, tells me that he's ready to fire a big shot 13 days from now at Pimlico.
I have to agree with you, Tom. He's a specimen. Early in his career, he got to a point where he started to pull, tug. You know, he wanted to get rank and go up there. I really liked that they stuck him down inside, even when Imagination hooked him in the stretch and they moved him off, so he didn't get too on the muscle.
Yes.
He was as relaxed as you could ask for. It just tells me that in 13 days we're going right to the lead and going down the road, and we're going to see what happens. But if Imagination can look him in the eye in a 6 furlong work and the rider doesn't move and Muth pulls away, 13 days from now, we might just see the same thing.
You know, it's funny. People talk about the Triple Crown Series, and of course, there's a lot of anticipation for the Kentucky Derby. But now, after the Derby was run, there's only one possibility of a Triple Crown winner, and obviously that might or might not happen in 13 days. A lot of people like Pimlico and the Preakness, right? It's kind of a cool little city, Baltimore, the Inner Harbor. I've never been. It's the only Triple Crown race I've never been to. I know you've never been as well. But from a racing fan standpoint, do you kind of get into the Preakness, maybe either cheering for or cheering against a possible Triple Crown winner?
Yeah, I tend to get invested in the Preakness a little bit. It really helps if I didn't really particularly care for the Derby winner.
Yes.
With this, where the connections are kind of on the fence on whether they want to bring Mystic Dan back in 13 days, which is, their prerogative to do best by the horse. And there's a lot of other spots to run in throughout the year. The way I see it, if we don't have 14 horses in the gate with 2 also eligibles on Saturday, I don't know what we're really talking about here, because 203 in a piece and the 2 best horses end up second and third to them. I think you can take on the Derby winner here.
The results of the Kentucky Derby, as Sebastian mentioned, might not scare away many new contenders, and that's a good thing from a gambling standpoint. The more horses in the starting gate, the better the value is. We're going to find out what the value is on today's 10-race card, according to Sebastian. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes on today's Sunday's card here at the Great Race Place.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. The track is fast, the turf is firm, the rail on the turf is out 10 feet. Here are the changes. First race, start of the early pick 5. We have overweights, 3+2, 4+1, 6+1. In the second race, we kick off the early pick 4, no changes. Turning to the third, a couple of overweights, 2+1 and 4+2. We have a middle pick 4 today on races 4, 5, 6, and 7. Number 4, Ignatowski, 2 pounds over. Fifth race, we have some blinker notes. That's it. Turning to the sixth. Fifth race starts to pick 6. 6 starts to late pick 5 with no changes. The 7th is the grade 3 Senorita Stakes. Just one blinker note in the start of the late pick 4. And the all-turf pick 3 today is on races 7, 9, and 10. Race 8, take out the 2 Bags Gold. 8th race, scratch number 2. The 9th starts the Golden Hour pick 4, just the one blinker note. And the 10th race is the start of the Golden Hour double. And just again, one blinker note. Blinker notes listed on the bottom of your program page. Enjoy your day at the Great Race Place. We're 58 minutes away from race 1. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. His guest today, making it another Seabass Sunday, Sebastian Piscuskas, a man who is familiar with the racing scene coast to coast, but he's laser focused here on Santa Anita Park's racing action.
Welcome back. We're talking horses with Sebastian Piscuskas. He is the loyalty and marketing ambassador right here at Santa Anita. Yesterday was a busy day. A lot of people on track, a lot of energy. You work in the customer service booth. I'm surprised you're not wearing your hat backwards like with a straitjacket on after dealing with some of the patrons.
Oh, Tom, don't worry. This is the time that you look forward to. We have a couple marquee days a year, and that's what I get out of bed for.
What's the latest promotion? Isn't there a sweater or something got delayed? What's going on with the first bet and express bet?
We're giving away a fleece blanket this month.
Fleece blanket.
Wager $100 on track with your first rewards card, and you come see me and redeem for your blanket. It's really a nice blanket. It's nice and soft. I mean,
is it $100 for the day, $100 for the month, $100 for the
during
race?
the life of the promotion. While supplies last, please. While supplies last.
Okay.
But I have supply now, and so come on down. And like I said, it's a quality item. I think if I could have two, I'd keep two. So I might ask, but I'll definitely get one.
And I don't think you were part of administering the Express Bet Kentucky Derby live money tournament yesterday, but it was a $3,000 buy-in, $2,000 live bankroll, and a $1,000 entry fee and prize money that was returned to the players. Over 190 people participated around the country. Brett Weiner from Las Vegas, Nevada, actually emerged the winner. He's been on track here at Santa Anita many times before. He was not yesterday because he was out of town traveling on business, but he wound up with over $25,000 of live money. He won a BCBC seat. He won an NHC seat. He won $45,000 in prize money. Not a bad return for a $3,000 investment. And let's face it, people are playing big money on the Derby. If you're going to play big money on the Derby, why not just get involved in the tournament? And you can see the premium bonus prizes that Brett earned as a result of winning.
Absolutely. We're here at First. We're doing a great job of putting out as much content as we can in the tournament space. I think we're making great strides in regards to our tournament game, and all props to Brett Weiner for nailing it down. And I mean, that's a great return on investment, all in, probably about $70,000, $67,000 in profit. And like you said, if you're going to bet the Derby anyway, let's take a shot. Why not?
And we've been talking about the Preakness in 13 days. We'll have another $1,500 Preakness tournament, $1,000 live bankroll, $500 entry fee, which will be basically based upon all the races from Pimlico and also some of the races from Santa Anita. More information on that will be at expressbet.com. And of course, I'll be tweeting that in the days leading up to the tournament on Preakness Day. All right, Sebastian, enough about past history. Let's look forward and try and predict the future on today's 10-race card. I actually like today's 10-race card, particularly the early pick 5. I think it's got a lot of value. And we kick things off in the early pick 5 in race number 1, which is a split of race number 3. We're going 6 furlongs in the turf course. The rails today are at 10 feet, and it's for maiden special weights. We've got a field of 9. The original morning line favorite was number 5, highly desirable at 7-2 from the Richie Baltus barn. But the one taking action at 9-5 is on the rail, number 1, Marsh Creek, first-time starter from the Bob Baffert barn. Talk to us about race 1.
So I did end up with the morning line favorite, Tom, and highly desirable. She is a 4-year-old filly going against colts in this spot. She missed a year. She's making her first starts in September of 2022 in Ireland. That race that she ran that day was, in my opinion, exceptional.
Were you able to watch the replay? I know you're kind of a young whippersnapper that pulls them up.
I was able to find the replay and watch it. She was down inside. She came on late, and she's beating a neck for second. If they go an extra 5 yards, she's second and making up ground on the winner. So
she was 125 to 1 that day.
Yeah, only 125 to 1 for a filly who ran her face off that day. Coming into this spot, it looks like she's been working regularly at San Luis Rey.
And Richie Baltus, by the way, not to interrupt, has done a tremendous job with his layoff runners. I didn't want to steal your thunder, but it's very noticeable that the returnees off long layoffs from the Baltus barn are absolutely firing.
Absolutely. He's done a great job with his horses, getting them ready and getting ready to fire and coming into their first race and second race off the layoff. So it's nice to see Richie Baltus back in action, and I think he's got this filly cranked and ready to break her maiden today.
You're not giving Mr. Baffert any love because we saw in the graphic your second selection Sebastian, is number 7, a bit mischievous from the Peter Miller barn. What do you like about him?
So with me and a bit mischievous, I remember the Mayor Carlina. They paid $310 for this Into Mischief Ridgeling. It worked tab steady. I like the 112-4 move. The key for me is that, given that he's down at San Luis Rey, not as many eyes on him. We don't really know how good this horse could be. So the 5-1 could end up being, as right now on the board at 14, it could be some value there.
What's your knock on Marsh Creek? Obviously, we're trying to beat the favorite at 9-5. Is it just the price, or is there something about the breeding or the workouts that you don't particularly like?
So given the breeding, I mean, out of Life's Blessings, that makes him have to a colt in 10 Blessings, who was very good down the hill and on this turf course here. My whole thing with Marsh Creek was that in his last work, April 27th, I liked the way he traveled. I liked his energy, but I really wasn't a fan of his stride and the way that he covers ground. I think that going forward, he's going to take a race or two to get going, but I am kind of weary on just how talented this runner is.
5 and 7 to kick things off in race number 1. Let's turn the page, take a look at race number 2. Begins the 50-cent early pick 4. We're sprinting 5.5 furlongs in the main track for $10,000 claimers. Field of 5. Number 4, Slew's Joy, is a first-time gelding. The favorite on the bottom is number 5, Established, from the Dan Ascarity barn. 8-5 on the morning line. Give us your thoughts on race 2, Sebastian.
So race 2 was actually a really deep, despite it being a 5-horse field, it's a really deep race. I landed on the 4, Slew's Joy, first time gelding, now first time in the Mark Glatt barn, given a little time in addition to the gelding. Particularly looking at his April 27th work, I thought it was really good, given that he was working in company with a horse down on the inside. He was put away, and then as they were galloping out, there were 2 horses that were galloping in front of them. He got back on the bridle, came up inside of his workmate, and really finished off his work into the turn a lot better than you would have thought, given that he was basically tired at the wire. So that tells me that, for a horse at the bottom, I think that the gelding's helped. I think he's moved forward, and we got leading rider Kyle Fry in the saddle.
Kyle Fry has obviously turned a corner here, and he took a little bit of a break for his mental health. And yesterday he was aboard a graded stakes winner, Gold Phoenix. It's a joy to watch him ride because he's riding with enthusiasm. Yeah. And it's good to see like a new face at the top of the jockey standings. It tends to be one of the household names, but Kyle Fry and his agent Jack Robb are doing a tremendous job.
They absolutely are, and it's so encouraging to see a guy who you can see as he rides it, the hunger and the intensity and the passion that he has in the saddle. And whether he's winning, he's giving you the salute while up 10 lengths, or he's in a dogfight with you, right? He's going to give you everything he's got and then some.
As I mentioned, race 3 is a split of race number 1. And again, we're traveling 6 furlongs in the turf course for maiden special weights, a field of 8. Let's see here. Number 7, Tease Touch, is a first-time gelding, the morning line favorite. Number 2, All That Glory, from the Tim Yock Teen Barn. Second off the brief layoff. What are your thoughts on race 3, Sebastian?
So, I ended up on the morning line favorite, All That Glory.
Reluctantly.
Reluctantly. I say that to say this. I don't like ending up on chalk all day. However, his debut was really strong. At 2 back, he's running against May Moon. He's chasing May Moon. I think last time getting on the grass the first time, I ultimately think he went too slow on the lead. I think that he's a lot quicker than the 45-3 would indicate. They came home at 11-4, and he was trying his hardest, but I just think that his strength is to kind of stretch this field out and make them come get him. And from that standpoint, he's gonna, if he's ridden the way I think he's gonna get ridden, and Antonio's hungry. He just won with a 10-length horse yesterday at Churchill after the Derby race. So
for Doug O'Neill.
So he's just gonna put this horse on the engine, open up, take him as far as he can, and if he's got a break at mid-stretch, he'll be right there.
You give a little love to number 7, Tease Touch, who I mentioned is not only a first-time gelding but a first-time LASIX user. First start in North America after one career debut at Great Britain, where he finished a good second in a field of 7. Did you like his work? Or you probably didn't see the work since they were a low sell. What'd you like about Tease Touch?
You know what? This is just a gut feeling for me. D'Amato does a great job of getting these horses ready for his first start in America. He seems to have a relatively consistent work tab at low sal. May have missed a little time at the end of March into April, but for a turf horse, I'm not as concerned about it. Ultimately, I think he will do better routing, but given that there is speed on the inside with the 1 going blinkers off, there appears to be a lot of speed with the 3 Angier. So I just think that Tease Touch, if he gets a trip and he tips out late, he could be there at the finish. And
take note that Sebastian's top pick, number 2, All That Glory, sired by Golden Sense, the sire of Mystic Dance. Certainly he's proven to be a versatile sire, siring not only turf winners, but classic winners as well. You're old enough to remember Golden Sense 2 Breeders' Cup victories here, going to Flat Mile.
Yes, I was here for both of them.
With Rafael Bejarano from the outside post. That was a very impressive performance.
Yeah, it was. That horse was lightning fast. He ended up catching a track that was favorable for him that day. But
you're correct.
The key was for him, he wanted to be out on the lead, and it was basically, if you want to come get me, go ahead and try. But I remember his second Breeders' Cup dirt mile, he ran Vickers in Trouble into retirement, so that was tough to watch. But he ended up opening up, and I can't remember the horse that he held off, but he won relatively comfortably.
Race number 4 on a 10-race card offers a 50-cent middle pick 4, and the 50-cent middle pick 4 in race 4 begins going 1 mile on the main track for Calbred Maiden Special Weights, a field of 6. Rhino, who's been very tough the first 2 starts off a long layoff from the Dan Blacker's assistant barn, is the 8-5 morning line favorite. The only 4-year-old in the field facing a bunch of 3-year-olds. Does that have any impact on your decision?
It absolutely does, Tom. I especially in this time of year, as we get later into June, July, August, it's less imperative for older versus 3-year-olds. But for right now, I still think older have an advantage. Rhino has been very, very good off the layoff. His first start, he was good. His second start, he was even better. Had to set a quicker pace. He's back in about 2.5 weeks. So the turnaround, it tells me that he's still going very well. They're going to try dirt, and the rest of the field has to catch him to win, or they got to look him in the eye and go by. And I just don't know if they're really capable of doing that at this juncture of their careers.
Race number 5 begins the $1 pick 6. This is a split of race number 10, same conditions, which are 1 mile on the turf course for allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. We've got a field of 9. Number 6, Malibu Coast as a first-time gelding. Number 4, Halfway Line from the Phil D'Amato barn. The D'Amato barn could have a big day today. Is 5-2 on the morning line. Really good betting race here, Sebastian. Who do you like and why?
I landed on the 7, Mystification. I think he comes out of a really key race. He was beaten by Alligato and Foston. Foston is proven to be a stakes quality type of performer, even though he hasn't gotten there yet. He's got a second last year to have in a meltdown. I believe I was talking to a buddy of mine who lives overseas. I think before he debuted, Foston he was the favorite for the Kentucky Derby 6 months out. So that was pretty interesting. So the company lines are there. Alligato is a stakes horse as well. Mystification set a nice pace last time, and it just got a little tired. I think in a race like this, another one where it might be a little devoid of pace, he just goes to the lead and tries to take him as far as he can.
You also like number 4, Halfway Line, who is the morning line favorite. Did you watch any of the replays for him?
No, I ultimately didn't catch any of the replays for Halfway Line. Just another one of those where I just know that D'Amato does an exceptional job with these. This horse showed a lot of ability in France, soft track form. We don't really know how good he's going to be on a firm course, but there's no reason to believe that he won't take to it.
Race number 6 begins the 50-cent late pick 5, where 6 furlongs on the main track for fillies and mares, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than. Field of 5, and once again, the only 3-year-old in the field on the bottom. Number 5, Show Card from the Bob Baffert barn, is the 8-5 morning line favorite. Lightly raced, improving by your speed figure pattern. Thumbs up or thumbs down on the favorite? I'm
going to go thumbs somewhere in the middle. I remember when she had her second start, I said, you know, Tom, I think she needs to route. And I still believe that. I'm a little leery of her given that she vet scratched on April 21st. So I'm kind of wary. Ultimately, in this race here, we have 3 horses in Diamonds Dancing, Power Surge, and Class Clown that all need the lead.
No doubt.
And the two fillies that are the best fillies on paper in the race are Scary Fast Ride and Show Card. They don't need the lead. In this spot, 9.5 out of 10 times, I'm going to end up on the horse on the outside. But given where I think Show Card's a better router, given that the vet scratch from 2.5 weeks ago with only one work since, I'm going to land on Scary Fast Ride, who's proven to be a Calbred Stakes type of filly. And this is going to be her first start against Open. I think that she's absolutely the one to deny.
Let's take a look at race number 7, which begins the 50-cent late pick 4, Sebastian. It's our feature race on the card. It's the Grade 3 Senorita Stakes for 3-year-old fillies going down the hillside turf course. It also not only begins the 50-cent late pick 4, it begins the $3 all turf pick 3. Another good field of 8. Number 6, Visually, was supplemented into the race for an additional cost of $2,000 to the owners. Number 2, Lone, is the morning line favorite. Lone, Girl of My Dreams, and Alluring, and one other filly in the field, Antifona on the bottom, all exit the Angel Flight Stakes. They all ran first, second, third, and fourth. And there's a couple of, we're going to show the replay, there's a couple of runners I want you to watch. Girl of My Dreams is going to set the pace. Although it shows in the racing form she breaks from post position number 7. Because of scratches, she'll be wearing saddlecloth number 9. And likewise, Alluring is in the same pace, basically stalking Girl of My Dreams. She's going to be wearing saddlecloth number 3. The jockey's going to be in a yellow cap. And what I want you to watch, particularly with Alluring, is she's very slow to change leads coming down the lane. And she just misses by a nose. But this is a good race that might have an impact today on the Senorita. So pay attention to the runners wearing saddlecloths number 3 and 9 in the replay we're about to watch of the Angel Flight, and listen to Frank Miramotti describe the action.
And they're off in the Angel's Flight. Alluring bounces out very quickly, and so does Girl of My Dreams on the outside. Girl of My Dreams has the lead. Alluring coming after her in second. They're followed by Invincible Molly, right next to Lone, who's in the powder blue colors. Behind them, Zona Verde, 7 lengths off the lead. She is Romantic, second to last, and Antifona as they string out down the hill. And Girl of My Dreams has a 4-length lead. Alluring is a clear-cut second. Lone and Invincible Molly right together. 3 lengths back to Zona Verde. Comfortable and yet to be asked. Another length and a half to Antifona, and She is Romantic. They're starting to close in on Girl of My Dreams. Girl of My Dreams, 2-length lead. Lone on the outside. Alluring, far outside. Zona Verde went wide. Invincible Molly in the orange colors. They're in the final furlong. Alluring right up to Girl of My Dreams. Behind them, Lone is starting to kick into high gear. Here comes Lone after Alluring late. Alluring, Lone on the outside. Lone or Alluring. Alluring or Lone. Here's the line. Photo finish.
As always, Sebastian, coming down the hillside turf course produces thrilling finishes, and this was no different. This race might have an impact on today's Senorita. Based off that replay and the other runners in the field, who do you like and why?
I ended up on the one Girl of My Dreams who we showed in that replay as the
Setting
pace
the
setter.
pace.
It's a price play as much as they've now seen her. This will be the 10th start of her career. The jocks know what she wants to do, and I think they're going to give her a little too much respect this time. I don't think she went too slow. I think she could just do the same thing as she did last time. She stuck around really well for a filly who was basically there for the taking at the top of the stretch, and she got beat a length. So I think that they give her a little too much respect. She gets a break, and they got to come get her to win. That's what it boils down to.
12-1 is your type of price for all the multi-race exotics.
Yeah, I ate enough chalk in the early part of the card. Now we're going to open it up and let it fly.
Race number 8, we're sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track for $20,000 claimers. Non-winners of 3 races lifetime. 1 scratch. Scratch the 2. Bags Gold leaves us with a field of 7. Number 5, Crowning Gold, who's adding blinkers for trainer Brian Corners, the 5-2 Morin Lane favorite. Another good betting race. Talk to us about it.
So as I looked at this race, I kept standing on my head trying to find something other than the top 2 betting choices. What it really boiled down to is something clicked in my mind when I was looking at April 5th for Crowning Gold, and I went back and watched that replay, and I had a massive note. Wherever I write my notes down, a notebook or in my brain, but I had a massive note that said April 5th rail. So that told me that it was a rail bias that day. I went back, watched all the tape. I thought that the rail was exceptional that day. I thought if you were off the rail, you were in trouble.
And he was never close to the rail.
He never saw the rail. He was sitting just off the pace in 44-4 in the 4 path. For Sue was more than comfortable to be there. And he had every opportunity to just keep going away, and he stuck around. So when I see a horse get an 80 buyer, run 116-4, beaten a couple lengths by a horse who came up the rail to beat him and open up, that tells me that Crowning Gold's good here, and I'm going to key him in all my wagers.
And you also give a little love to number 1, Erebus, 12-1 on the morning line. What's it about Erebus that you like?
What it kind of boils down to is even in this race where you've got horses like Habeas, you have Zabul stopping a tray, Crowning Gold, Soul of Midnight. On paper, it looks like this pace could be contentious. It ultimately might not be that way. But for a horse like Erebus, he just wants to make one run, and he might be good enough to get there on his best day.
Race number 9 begins the $1 Golden Hour Pick 4, linking our last 2 races here with the last 2 races at Golden Gate. Yesterday's Golden Hour Pick 4 paid in excess of $4,000. Some prizes in that sequence, but also a 5-2 winner to close it out up at Golden Gate. So congratulations again to those lucky and skilled ticket holders. But we kicked today's Golden Hour Pick 4 off coming down the hillside turf course here at Santa Anita in race number 9. It's an allowance race for fillies and mares, a good field of 11. Take note, number 7, Big Summer re-adds Lasix, is not a first-time Lasix user, and is also the 3-1 Morin Lane favorite coming off a long laugh. Another really good betting race here, in my opinion, Sebastian.
Yes, this race is absolutely wide open, Tom. In all your multi-race wagers, if you can afford to spread here, I'd recommend it. And if you were going to spread here, let's toss Big Summer. But I'm going to be a little bit more diligent or stringent on this one. I ended up on La Llorona. She's bred to handle the turf. She's out of Wasted Tears. I believe that makes her a half the Corniche, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Okay.
And look what they paid for: 50 times the stud fee.
Yeah, only 50.
Stud stands for 15,000. They paid $750,000. First time turf. Maybe that's the surface she's always wanted to run on.
Absolutely. Her debut was really strong. Her last 2 starts, she showed pace, but I just ultimately don't think she's a dirt horse. I think that there is room for improvement on the grass. I like night that they're taking the blinkers off to get her to relax. There's a lot of gas signed up in this race, so if she can get a comfortable trip and tip out, I think she's one to hold off in the lane.
There's a lot of layoff runners on today's card, Sebastian, including in here as well. We talked about Big Summer, also Tiergarten's coming off a layoff. And it's just a general handicapping question for you. Now, we've talked about, and it's a great tool, don't get me wrong, xbtv.com, where you can watch the workouts, particularly for first-time starters or layoff runners, is fabulous. But there's other factors involved. It's the individual horse themselves. It's the trainer. It's maybe even the pedigree, like we were talking about with your top selection in this race. When you're kind of putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, when you're trying to come up with a winner, when you're evaluating layoff runners, like what's one of the, even trainer patterns, what's one of the most important elements for you to kind of identify if they're going to fire big off the layoff?
So I think two things in regards to any layoff runners. I want to see how they perhaps performed either first time out or off a layoff before to let me know if they can fire fresh. But number two, ultimately, is trainer intent. Do we want to win this race today? Does Big Summer want to win this race today? I think they do, just to get her into to get her back into stakes company. But ultimately, if Big Summer closes and finishes a nice second or decent third and shows the late life that she's shown on every start on her page, then they're going to be more than thrilled with that. But to take $8 in a 12-horse, an 11-horse field like this with a runner coming off a layoff like that, I think there's other spots to take shots.
It's a very fair point, Sebastian. And the reason why I asked is because in the situation of Big Summer, who you've outlined why you want to play against her, it's a limited sample, and I didn't look up her stats for the last 5 years. But Carla Gaines, you can see right in the racing form, doesn't really fire off the layoff. She's basically just 4% with a sample size of 23 runners. So Carla does a great job. I love the way most of her horses look in the paddock. It's not a knock. It's just a pattern. She doesn't like to really press down on the horse off a long layoff. And as you just outlined, if they finish second or third, they're very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And given her back class and her ability, Big Summer can absolutely win this race. She did vet scratch on April 6th, so that's something to keep in mind also. But in a race like this where it's wide open, but all of these horses all sort of have knocks against them, whether it's they need a lonely lead that they're not going to get, they might be drawn inside, they might be trying the hill maybe for the first time, or their running style isn't conducive to this sort of race. It really just becomes you take who you think is the best and you take the known commodity and you just try to advance.
Race number 10 closes out the day and closes out the week here at St. Anita. We're traveling 1 mile on the turf course. It's an allowance optional claiming race, non-winners of one other than. It's a split of race number 5 today. It also offers $5 golden hour daily double wagering. We've got a good field of 9. Number 2, C Singer, the only 3-year-old in the field, is a first-time gelding. The morning line favorite is on the bottom. Number 9, City Exile, 5-2 on the morning line. Has ability, hasn't been seen since February in the afternoon. Give us a winner to close it out, Sebastian.
So I waited all afternoon and all seminar to give you this horse, and it is the number 8, Jeweled Shillelagh.
Why do you like this 20-1 bomber with Jeremy Laprida in the saddle?
So this is what it really boils down to, Tom, and I use boils down a lot, but this is my key here. We're going blinkers off on a horse that pulls in a race with no pace. You're going to get him to relax. You're going to put him right on the lead.
Do you like Jeremy on the lead? Limited sample size, but is he a good? I have no idea. Is he a good front runner?
I like Jeremy Laprida. I mean, he's spent a bunch of winters at Parks, and it can be somewhat of a free for all. They have 10, 11 horse fields seemingly all day on Monday through Wednesday. So he's got I have to imagine he's worked this horse a couple times. I'm looking at that April 11th work at San Luis Rey, 46-3. I'm hoping they took the blinkers off for that one to tell me that this horse is moving forward, but in a race like this where there's absolutely no speed whatsoever, and I have a horse that's pulling with blinkers, and we take the blinkers off,
it's automatic.
It's going in. There's nothing else I can do. My hands are tied.
Sure,
how about that?
Sure.
It's so Jeweled Shillelagh on top over the 9 City Exile. He's the proven commodity in the afternoon. Not really sure how fast he ends up being. I seem to end up on D'Amato a lot in grass races. Who'd have thought? But it's Jeweled Shillelagh is going to be a horse I'm going to be pressing in all my tickets, and I'm hoping to have a 3-length lead at the 8th pole, and then you'll hear me on the apron if I'm live. So I hope Jeweled Shillelagh brings it home for me.
He watches races at Santa Anita. He watches classic races like the Kentucky Derby. He watches replays from overseas, and he watches Parks on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It's hard to beat the breadth of knowledge that Sebastian Piscuskas has. Sebastian, thanks so much for your time and insight. Always a pleasure. You threw a perfect inning. Now I can put you back and go to the showers.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks to all of you for watching. 2 additional comments before we let you go. First of all, don't forget about the Coast to Coast Pick 5. We're offered every Saturday and Sunday at Lynx Races here at Santa Anita with our sister track at Gulfstream Gulfstream Park. And you can see today's sequence, which is a $1 minimum with a low 15% takeout, begins with Gulfstream Park, race number 8. Post time for that is 1:50 p.m. Pacific time. Yesterday's payout was fantastic once again yesterday. And also live racing here at Sandy begins or resumes, I should say, next Friday. 1 o'clock post will be first post for next Friday here at Sandy. Until then, have a great afternoon, everybody, and good luck.